want to make sure I'm spending a little time today giving credit where credit is due, because it really drives me insane how many people who are up against these communists supposedly go along with them for the longest time. And then eventually when they can't deny the truth anymore, they'll step up and act like some freedom fighter. James Lindsay is not one of these. He knows communism. He knows what these people are. And I just want to point out on 4/28 on January 6th, 2021, quote, "I know you hate when I do this, but I'll give you the unvarnished truth. You don't know what's happening at the Capitol. You're scared. You don't know. You're making chaotic noise on the social because it's where we pray these days. And we're scared and don't know things." James Lindsay was out there while things were happening saying, hold up, don't believe what you see. He's the author of The Marxification of Education. And gosh, is that a book you need to read, especially if you're a daggone parent. James, why were you doing that on January 6th? It was so easy to just whip up this narrative, oh my gosh, America's ending, insurrection, and yet you didn't. Why?
Well, Jesse, it's as you know, I spend all of my precious free time in my life reading communists, and therefore I know their mind, and therefore I know their games. There is a book that you maybe have heard of and maybe haven't heard of. Every American that gives a crap about this issue needs to know about it. It's called Beautiful Trouble. Beautiful Trouble is the update to Rules for Radicals. It's available online for free, and they tell you very explicitly how to craft a media narrative around a provocation so that you can move a narrative agenda. So you should know that. So you know that they set up these narrative agendas and they use media provocations and they selectively edit and clip and share those things to push their agendas. Simultaneously, I had the good pleasure of reading a fantastic postmodern philosopher by the name of John Baudrillard, who in the early 1990s, right after the Gulf War, wrote a book called The Gulf War Did Not Take Place. This is a provocative statement, to say the least, typical of French postmodernists who are also Marxists. And what does it mean? He doesn't mean that nothing happened in the Persian Gulf. What he means is that CNN crafted a narrative, the television crafted a narrative, the Bush administration crafted a narrative, and while things happened in the Gulf, what we were presented as an American people is not at all what happened in the Gulf. So the thing we call the Gulf War did not take place. He said it's an atrocity masquerading as a war used to push a political agenda. And I saw this thing unfolding at the Capitol. I knew that we were getting selective amounts of information. I knew that they were trying to subterfuge and destroy Donald Trump. And I knew that what we were seeing was not indicative of what was really happening. And as you often advise people, maybe you should chill out for 48 hours before you make your take. Maybe you should see some more information come out before you stick your foot in the bear trap. But that's, of course, not what happens. So that's how I knew that something fishy was going on. I read communists.
James, okay, I don't expect people to be as educated as you on communists in the way they think, although I'm glad you are, but I need you to explain this to me. Set the communists aside. You ask the average American citizen, not even left, right, Republican, Democrat, I don't give a crap. You go out on the sidewalk right now and ask 10 people, does the media lie? 9 out of 10 will say yes, maybe 10 out of 10. They know the media lies. They understand the media lies, yet they believe it. Time after time after time, when they are sold a narrative, they will, at least initially, during the most critical phase, buy into it. You see this on the right all the time, and then they wake up one day and say, wow, I was lied to. You knew you were dealing with a liar, yet you didn't think you were being lied to this time. James, make that connection for me, because, brother, I can't make that connection at all.
Well, I tell people all the time, they ask me what my biggest piece of advice is, and it's turn off your television. Stop listening. Something's happening. You want information. You're getting lied to, but at least you're getting a drip feed of information. It might be on social media too. You're getting fed partial information, wrong takes. Everybody has to be first. Everybody has to have their thing. Everybody has to have their say. And they're desperate to kind of piece together what's happening. And luckily, we're building a slightly better reflex. You look at the January 6th. Before that, you look at the thing with George Floyd. After that, you look at the Ukraine thing. And you see that the amount of time it takes for people to realize they're getting snookered is shrinking, but it's not shrinking fast enough. It should really be at this point, especially people leaning to the right or all the way on the right, should immediately say whatever the media is telling me might actually be bogus. Maybe I should slow down and try to figure out more of what's going on and how the narrative they're presenting might be used against me. But people are desperate. As like I said, social media is where we go to pray these days when we're stressed out. We speak out into the universe on the social media. Oh, please let there be, some, bountiful harvest. Let these calamities pass us by. Whatever happens to be, we pray on social media. Not in private to our Father who art in heaven. The whole thing, Jesus said, we don't do that. We put it on social media instead, and we're trying to absolve ourselves of our stress. We buy into the media. Everybody's doing it, so you have to go along. You don't want to be the guy. I got bombarded for that. If you put the tweets that I put, you should see the replies. You should see how people treated me for that. I got yelled at physically in person for things like that, for saying that. Not very long afterwards, for saying maybe you should slow down and think the media is a liar. Everybody wants to go along with the herd, and that herd mentality is actually something that if we can't set the communists aside, they understand it and they manipulate it and they use it against us.